What's going on, everybody? B. Scott, I'm here with
Godzilla.
And on today's show, we got your matchups heading in to week number 13. We got a Thursday night football game, Dallas Cowboys handling business with the New Orleans Saints, and we're going to be looking at each individual matchup heading into week 13, giving you our picks for the spreads based on the points and things like that. So keep locked and loaded right here at the first four downs.
You already know what it is. Drop it. 13.
Everybody, welcome back. B. Scott, God here, and we're going over the matchups heading into week number 13. We got a lot of big point spreads this week, lots of big name favorites, and as we know of the recent past, the last 4 or 5 weeks, a 7-point favorite has lost at least one per week. So who's it going to be this week? We'll get into some matchups, but before we get to today's content, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff, and then comment if you want to hear more about a matchup or NFL. Any information NFL related, fantasy related, whatever, drop in the comment section. We'll be glad to give you our advice or our opinions on the matters.
Let's get to it.
Yeah, so first matchup on the docket, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 11.5-point favorites on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. 50.5 over-under. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first off, I want to mention this. They haven't looked outstanding. Don't get me wrong, they ran the football very effectively. Leonard Fournette, 4 touchdowns last week. They have 5 touchdowns total by the running backs. Tom Brady hasn't needed to get it done through the air. 2 weeks ago, they beat the Giants handedly, but albeit didn't look great in that game either. And then they lost to the Washington football team the game before that. So here on the road, a divisional matchup, they're facing the Atlanta Falcons, who've looked absolutely terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, I want to say, last week, 21-14. I mean, that's no big deal. But 3 points in 2 games before that against the New England Patriots. And then I can't even remember the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sorry. They scored 3 points on them.
Whoop out of Cowboys.
That's what I'm saying. 43-3. But for me, I'm honestly leaning towards Atlanta at the 11.5 because I think this game, Atlanta's going to be able to do something on offense, hopefully. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just haven't looked in sync on all levels yet. Now, yes, that running game, if they get a running game like that, with Tom Brady and the pass catchers they have, they're going to be scary to any team. But the defense is still giving up plays in spots. They gave up 30 points to the Colts last week. Really were down in that game to come back. Or the Colts stormed back. I'm sorry. But I just think Atlanta's going to be able to hang in this game. So I'm gonna take Atlanta at the 11.5. I don't necessarily love it. But it's such a big point spread. I know Tampa could win here by two scores. But I like the over. You saw it the first game they played. There was 60-plus points scored in that game. So I like the over here. And I'm going to take the Atlanta on the 11.5. I just think Atlanta's going to keep it within 10 points.
Yeah, I don't blame you here. You look at the divisional games between these two, and they always kind of split them, you know what I mean? Looking at Atlanta this year, they don't really look like that team, you know what I'm saying?
No.
We had high expectations for Calvin Ridley and company, but they don't seem to be getting this ball rolling without Cordell Patterson, who is the wide receiver, the running back, and now the safety.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? So
he does it all.
I can't wait till we get him like in official starts at safety, and we can probably put him in the spots at the safety spot with the wide receiver and the running back points. That's going to be absolutely ridiculous. But until then, we're looking at this game. Going into this game on Sunday, we're looking at Brady 9-0 against this team. It's going to be hard, though. You know what I'm saying? They've been struggling on offense a little bit, especially in the pass catching department without Antonio Brown, which is their number 1 receiver. You look at on the road, they have not beat a team them more than 7 points throughout the whole season. You go to the team, Atlanta, earlier in the season, put 28 points on these guys. So I don't blame you for taking 11.5. But I think that ultimately, going into this game, you're looking at Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. They have to have a statement game here. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of the running game, I think no targets is lost and no volume is lost, really. You look at Ronald Jones the last 2 weeks, he's been emerging. 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So I think they don't fall off a bit. And especially having Ron Gronkowski back is huge for this Tampa Bay team. So honestly, in my opinion, I'm gonna roll with the 11.5. I'll probably roll with the 11. Even if you want to buy a point or 2 down, I mean, that's fine, but I think Tampa Bay gets this one done. And, it'll probably go over 50 points because I do not see Tampa Bay losing this game at all. I think they can roll, and I think Atlanta can put up a lot of points given that Devin White and a lot of these defensive players are hurt too.
Yeah, of course. So we're split on the spread there, but we both agree that I think Atlanta could be hanging around in this game a little bit. That's the only reason I got them on 11.5. I don't think they're going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but hey, you never know in today's NFL.
You never know, especially with how Vegas has rigged the spreads.
Yeah.
Giving 6 points, that's, you know what I'm saying, inflated a lot, and giving you a bad money line pretty much. If you've seen in the last month of football where you have to take, I mean, look at this game, 11.5, so it should be like a touchdown on the spread, or maybe 3 points, you know what I'm saying? And you have to take you have to lay $500 to make $100.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. So we're split on that one. We will move on to the next matchup. We got the Arizona Cardinals. Favored on the road, -7.5 against the Chicago Bears. 43.5 over-under. Chicago's home 43.5 over-under has just stayed consistent all season long. They play better defensively at home. Arizona, Kyler Murray, hopefully coming back. Now they finally came out and said, hey, he had a high ankle sprain. He's been out pretty much the last 4 weeks of football. Still a game-time decision. DeAndre Hopkins, game-time decision here. Chicago Bears, Andy Dalton will be under center. You know he's a good game manager. That's what you're going to get with him. Darnell Mooney's emerging as a great playmaker. Cole Kmet, I'm not sure if he's going to be available in this game. If he is, he's been getting it done. Jimmy Graham's seen an uptick in play. The Chicago Bears are looking a little bit better. Don't get me wrong, they barely beat the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day. But they still have David Montgomery who can run the ball effective. I think Darnell Mooney's emerged as a decent target on the outside. And I just don't know if I can Arizona's played great on the road, period. They're undefeated on the road. Yeah. So I could see Arizona winning the game. But if I'm gonna lay it on the points, I mean, if I was gonna tease it and take Arizona at half a point, I'm okay there. But I'm gonna take Chicago with the +7.5, and I think 43.5 over under. I really think it might be over here, just because I think Chicago's going to give up some points. You know, Arizona's gonna score probably 17 to 20 points at least by themselves, maybe 20, maybe in the mid 20s, and I think Chicago will get into the 20s. So I'm gonna lay with the over. I'm gonna take Chicago on the +7.5. I just think it could be Arizona could win by a touchdown, but it could be close.
Yeah, you know what? I worry about Arizona a lot coming into this game off a bye. We haven't seen Kyler Murray since the Green Bay game, and you wonder if they go in here and take these guys light. You know, given a non-divisional matchup in the NFC, home dog almost 8 points. That's hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to back the home team, but you look at Akeem Nicks out of this game. You know, Khalil Mack pretty much out for the season.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if I can really pick Chicago to cover the 7.5. If you want to buy a point, 6.5, Arizona wins by a touchdown. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm backing Arizona in this game. Period. I think they come away with it. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Zach Ertz emerging on that football team. I'm not sure if Chicago can handle this heat.
Yeah, of course. I totally can agree there. Chicago hasn't necessarily been dynamite on offense, and Arizona's played outstanding football. But I just got a weird feeling that Arizona could come into this game, like you said, taking it lightly. Cliff Kingsbury, maybe looking at college prospects, you know what I'm saying? Too. So who knows there? I'm going to lay it with the Chicago on the +7.5. Just taking the home favorite. I mean, even if you want to tease that to 13.5, I don't necessarily even love that. So if I was going to tease it, I'd tease Arizona.
And no matter how hot Arizona started this year, they started that way last year, and they were dead in the water in the second half of the season.
Yep. So now we're on to the Los Angeles Chargers on the road against Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati favored -3.5 at home. It's a standard favorite. 50.5 over under here. And this is my thing. I got to roll with Cincy at home. Cincy's defense plays great. They're coming off a huge win. What happened when they came off a huge win last time in a divisional matchup? They got beat by the Jets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's my only worry here. Obviously, the Chargers play good football, but they are coming off a really handedly loss to the Denver Broncos on the road, another tough divisional matchup. And the 3.5 points. I would buy a point down to 2.5 just to save my butt on a field goal. I like Cincinnati at -2.5. I think it's an over game. I think there's going to be a lot of points to be had. The Chargers can score in bunches. The Bengals can score in bunches. Who's going to stop Joe Mixon? The Chargers give up the most yards per rush. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just going to roll with Cincinnati at home being favored. Their defense is playing better. They're running the football way more effective than the Chargers. And they got the playmakers on the outside with Chase and Higgins.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Honestly, you just took the words out of my mouth, to be honest with you. Yes, the Chargers are a good road football team, but the Bengals are better at home. You know, I'm taking Cincinnati Bengals. This is Joe Mixon game all day long, and, you know, I think Cincinnati going to roll with this one. I don't see where, you know, there's an edge or leverage at all for the Chargers to win this game, except for a potential all-the-way shootout. But Mike Williams, where's he been the last month?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Cincinnati at home, -3.
Okay. Yeah, we're both on Cincinnati on that one. Move on. Minnesota Vikings on the road against the Detroit Lions. Good divisional matchup. Minnesota favored 7.5, 46.5 over under. And a lot of people are picking the Detroit Lions to upset the Minnesota Vikings here. And it's tough to me because Detroit has played very well. They played good at home. I mean, they could have beat the Baltimore Ravens. That game was very close. They almost beat the Bears and lost that at the end. So they've lost some heartbreakers, and then they tied the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for me, Minnesota still has great offensive weapons, period. I just don't see how Detroit Lions defense can stop them. And then on top of that, Detroit hasn't scored any points. 17 points is the most they've scored since week 1. You know, so it's like Minnesota averages 25 points. You know what I mean? Something like that. It's probably easily 25 points. So I'm going to roll with Minnesota here. The 7.5 I don't necessarily love. They are at home. Detroit tends to play a little stronger, especially on defense at home, so I don't love the 7.5. In my opinion, one of my best bets would be to tease this. 7 points down, you get Minnesota at half. And then if the over-under, 46.5, I really think it's going to be. I really think it is going to be under the 46.5. But if you were going to tease it down a touchdown, I think you could go over the 40 points. So for me, I got to take Minnesota here. I just think they're going to get it done.
Yeah, Minnesota on the over all season long on the road have gone over or pushed 47. So I'm going to take that all day long, especially if you tease it down. They may need a little bit of help here with the teaser. Because you never know how many points that Detroit can actually put up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're looking at this game. Minnesota has won 8 straight against Detroit. So I don't see that stopping here, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everson Griffin out. Daniel Hunter out. That's not going to matter.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Two sacks every single game at least for the Minnesota defense.
That's what I'm saying. You got ball hogs, Harrison Smith, Eric Kendricks. They're going to get to it. You know what I'm saying? I can see a lot of scoring in this game, which could potentially put it over. Like we said, we're worried about Detroit really scoring to push the over. But if you tease it down, you pretty much got a lock right here, and it's probably one of our best bets. At the end of the video, watch the best bets, pick and choose, Mitch and Max. Don't bet them all because one is gonna bust your slip. You know what I mean? But I got Minnesota winning this game handily.
Okay, yeah, we're both on the Minnesota train for sure. Even though, like I said, I mean, you never know. It could be close. I just don't see an upset here because Minnesota's a pretty good football team. Albeit, they're that team that's better than the bad teams, but not elite. You know what I mean? It's like they're right under those. So, on to the next matchup, we got the Indianapolis Colts. 10.5 point favorites on the road against the Houston Texans. 45.5 over under here. And Indianapolis coming off a loss. Obviously, Leonard Fournette with 4 touchdowns. They kind of fell apart on defense a little bit at the end of that game, but very close game. And Indianapolis played great football over the past 4, 5, 6 weeks. They played very good football and lost a couple close games.
They definitely one of the hot teams right
now. And then Houston Texans coming off a loss to the New York Jets, where they were favored at home. I just don't see how they can hang in this game with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, once again, 10.5 point favorite on the road. That's hard for me to take for any team, albeit the Houston Texans give up the most rushing yards per game on average, and Jonathan Taylor is leading the NFL in rushing yards right now. So it's like a prime spot for him to dominate in this football game.
Yeah.
But if it was me, I would throw it in a teaser. I like it with the Minnesota teaser for sure. Get you your 7 points. That drops it to 3.5, and I think the Colts probably win at least by a touchdown. But just to save you, just in case, because I think the Colts should win this football game, no problem.
Yeah, I got this game. The only thing I wrote down is I'm backing Taylor. Jonathan, not Tyrod.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Brandon Cooks is sick in this game. There's no telling whether or not he would go. That's a huge factor. Or will he be 100% in this game? Yeah. Indianapolis, their secondary ain't, above average. But if he's sick in this game, come on, man. Like, what are they going to do with that front, DeForest Buckner? You know what I'm saying?
And they're elite against the run, and they got Rex Burkhead as your running back.
Come on, man. Rex Burkhead looks just like a toddler just running down the street. You know what I'm saying? It's embarrassing. And you know what? I'm going to back the 10 points for the Colts.
Okay.
Horseshoes all day long.
Yeah. So we're both on the Indianapolis Colts. We'll move on to the next matchup. We got the New York Football Giants on the road against the Miami Dolphins. Miami minus 4.5. At home, 40.5 over under. That's pretty darn low considering they're favored by almost 5 points. And what could you say? The Giants, they can't score any points. The offense looks terrible. Obviously, Daniel Jones is out of this game. You're going to get Mike Glennon. Honestly, that's probably better for that offense, in my opinion.
Upgrade.
That's what I'm saying. And No Kadarius Toney or Sterling Shepard is looking like both of them doubtful. So how could you see?
It's Galladay or bust.
That's what I'm saying. How could you see the New York Giants hang in this game? Saquon Barkley hasn't been able to rush over like 50, 60 yards, especially coming back from injury. Really struggling to get it going. And Miami's defense played outstanding football over the last 4 games, giving up 17 points or less, something like that over the last 4 games. Played very well. So for me, I'm back in the 4.5. I'll take it, no problem. I worry about even going over the 40.5 because I don't know if the Giants could get to 13 points. So I got the score 27-10. And I got it under the 40.5. I just think Miami's going to handily win this football game. Miami might even put the 40 points up themselves. They played that great.
The New York Football Giants suck. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
They'll be the top 4 picking next year. If I lay $100, I win $50. I'm gonna put it in the parlay. I got the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. All right.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, so we're both on the Miami Dolphins. We'll move on. We got Philadelphia Eagles on the road against the New York Jets. Philadelphia minus 7.5.
Okay.
Over under a 45. And the Jets just don't look like they have anything, really. I mean, Zach Wilson plays back. They are better with Mike White or Joe Flacco under center than Zach Wilson at this point.
Or Joe Namath, because that's the last time they've been good.
Yeah, with a good quarterback. I mean, as long as he doesn't fumble on another man's buttocks. But Philadelphia, minus 7.5. They coming off a loss to the New York Giants. Don't get me wrong. Big letdown.
Divisional game.
Yeah, so 13-7, I want to say that score was. I just think Philly's going to bounce back here. What does Philly do well, and what have they done on the season? Run the football. The most effective running football team on average, the most running plays. And what are the Jets bad at? Defending the run. Give up the most fantasy points to running back position. I mean, 20-something touchdowns of running backs on the season.
They stopped Rex Burkhead last week.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you what. I got to take Philly. And I like the teaser in my favorite 3-team teaser or 4-team. You get your 7 points, and you got Philly at a half a point, pretty much a pick 'em. I think it could be under 45 just because I don't think the Jets can score a lot of points here. I think Zach Wilson's going to struggle in this game once again. And the running back room is a committee with 3 heads, and none of them really know what they're doing. I just got to back Philly here.
Yeah, for the tri-state area, this is a huge rivalry, Philly versus the Jets. What can you say? You know what I'm saying? Philly does run the ball like the most in the league right now, but Jordan Howard is already ruled out of this game. You got Boston Scott, who is questionable at most with an illness, non-COVID related. So we're looking at Miles Sanders, who had an ankle injury last week. And Kenny Gainwell, for fantasy players, Kenny Gainwell could probably have sneaky upside in this football game because they're going to run the ball regardless. The Jets have been notorious at stopping the run, but not this season. But in certain matchups, like the game last week, they stopped David Johnson and Burkhead. There could be a potential spot where they stop the run here. But do they win the football game?
Yeah.
As long as you got Zach Wilson throwing the ball at this point, I think, they're in the wrong side of, being a better football team. You got a defensive coach as a head coach. When they start to get an offensive coach, maybe a player that has played this game, maybe Brett Favre be the new coach there. Maybe you'll see some spark from what they want to do on offense. But right now, I just came back to New York Jets in this game. Philly, they defense, like I said, Darius Slay, you know what I'm saying? These guys, they got turnover defense. They're not going to stop them. But they will beat the Jets this weekend in Meadowlands or whatever you want to call that now.
Yeah, of course.
Also, Philadelphia Eagles, 11-0 versus the Jets.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be 12-0 more than likely. And what could you say? The New York Jets, Corey Davis especially out. So you're looking at Darius Slay probably dealing with a lot of Elijah Moore as it is. Elijah Moore's a great route runner and playing very well on the season, honestly.
Yeah.
Had some high praise from some good cornerbacks. But Darius Slay's good.
Yeah.
We know this, and that secondary is very good. So I don't know. Hopefully they can get the running game going and keep it close. But I just don't see it. We're both on Philly
Coleman,
here.
really?
Yeah, exactly. Next game, pretty much a pick 'em. We got the Washington football team on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas minus 1.5 at home, 49.5 over under. I really like the over here just because I think there's going to be a lot of points. The Raiders, I worry that Derek Carr has a letdown game here. That's my only worry in this game. Derek Carr plays very well, and he's played very well in the season so far. But he tends to just have these letdown games sometimes, where, the defense kind of gets at him and he gets a little flustered and he kind of loses it. I don't know. Last week played very good. Knocked off the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas on a short week. 370 passing yards and a touchdown. Washington secondary, has played a little bit better as of late, but still not great. And we know the pass rush, a lot of their defensive line has been beaten up on the season, but they're still doing a little bit. It's not horrible. Washington, playing great football overall as a team right now. They're playing very sound football. Taylor Heineke's playing very well. They're running the football. They got back to pounding the football very effectively with Antonio Gibson. So this is going to be a great game to watch, in my opinion. I hope it should be high scoring because it just smells high scoring game. I'm going to roll with the home favorites, the Las Vegas Raiders, though. I got to take my Raiders. They're going to get it done. Derek Carr is going to play a great game. Foster Moreau is going to be big in this one. Hunter Renfrow.
Which leads me to my question before I get to my pick. You know what I'm saying? If you watch the podcast, I do a lot of these matchups, or you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. And B. Scott does a lot of sit starts. I'm asking you, value-wise, is Foster Moreau overvalued or undervalued if Darren Waller is out of this game?
I think he's undervalued for fantasy especially. I mean, absolutely. The one game I mentioned, I had him as a good streaming option this week. 6 targets, 6 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. When Waller was out of this game. And Foster Moreau, we know, can get it done in the red zone. He's on the season, he usually averages like 3-4 touchdowns. They may be 1-yarders, but hey, they're touchdowns nonetheless. So I think Foster Moreau is a great option.
With him being highly effective in the red zone and pretty much red zone or bust for Foster Moreau, is Jacobs or Kenyon Drake or any of these guys going to contribute to what Derek Carr can do in this game? And if so, are they going to push over this 49.5?
You know what? I really do think so. I mean, you look at Josh Jacobs and what he's done over the last few games. He's really picked up his receiving role. 3 to 4 targets he's been averaging on the season. I want to say he averages almost 4 targets, which is really an uptick for him considering they bring in Drake. Yeah. And you expected, Drake's going to play the passing role, and even Jalen Richard's been a bit mixed and matched here and there, but Jacobs has still been very effective in the receiving game. He's getting it done on the ground. I just think there's going to be a lot of points to be had. I don't see how the Washington football team is going to be able to slow down this Raiders team. Deshaun Jackson might be out of this game. That could also affect it. He's dealing with the calf strain or something like that, tightness. So that could affect it. But Hunter Renfrow is a great option. The secondary I still don't like of the Washington football team. I still don't trust in it, albeit the defense played better. And the Raiders defense, the secondary is really falling apart a little bit. They've lost some pieces in the secondary, so it's hurt them a little bit. And I think Gibson will have an okay day here. I just think that it's going to be a track meet up and down this field. They're going to be scoring points.
All right. For my pick, I'm taking Washington football team money line.
Okay. I'm okay with that because I'm going to take the Raiders. And actually, now that I'm thinking about with Deshaun Jackson now, that could hurt the deep pass. But that's okay. I'm still going to roll with my Raiders. We'll move on to the next matchup, Jacksonville Jaguars. On the road against the Los Angeles Rams.
Why would they give them this line?
Los Angeles Rams minus 13.5. The over-under at 48. So, I mean, Jacksonville's going to score exactly 0 points. And there's not much to say here. I like this, my favorite in a teaser. Like I said, throw it in your 3 and 14 teasers. Get your 7 points. 6.5. That'll give you a Rams by a touchdown. Jacksonville, albeit has played good defense in spots, has played bad on the road and bad on the West Coast. You saw it. They 31-7. They lost to Seattle. The Rams coming out of a bye, looking to get back on track. They've really struggled over the last month of the football season. So this is this is the get right game for the Los Angeles Rams. I got to take them even at 13.5. Maybe I understand it's a huge line, but they are at home and favored, so you could roll with that. But I like it. I like it best in a teaser, and I just think it's going to be under because I think Jacksonville is going to struggle to score points.
Here's my thing with this game. If you look at Jacksonville and the opponents they've played, outside of the San Francisco 49ers a couple weeks ago, or what was that, last week? Whatever, 2 weeks ago, they had not let up a 100 rushing yard performance outside of divisional games. So you look into this game, and Henderson has had a quad strain or whatever, mild quad strain, whatever. McVay is like, they're saying he's going to play. Is the game plan for them, regardless, to run this football at least 20, 30 times? You know what I'm saying? Easily. Set up this play action with Odell Beckham. Get the check downs right with Cooper Kupp, because losing Robert Woods, who also rushed out of that backfield, is very critical. You know what I'm saying? To beat this football team. But the spread, 13.5, Jacksonville ain't putting up no points. And I see them struggling with Aaron Donald, Von Miller in this game. It's going to make it look like the Von Miller acquisition was just fucking genius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the game plan going forward? I mean, can they stop these LA Rams?
No, I don't think so. And actually, Jacksonville's defense played a little bit better especially as the seasons progress. But I just don't see it. I think they're going to be able to move the chains frequently. They're going to control the clock no matter what. I mean, you see what the Niners did to them. 40 minutes of time possession, something like that. I think the Rams are going to score in bunches. Jacksonville's going to be having turnovers. Trevor Lawrence is going to be under duress a lot of this game. So I would take the 13.5, but I like in a teaser just to be safe.
All right. I'm going back to Rams, 13.5.
Okay.
B. Scott says so.
Yeah, so we're on to the next matchup. We got the divisional matchup. Baltimore Ravens on the road against Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is a dog at home. Baltimore favored -4.5.
Yay.
Over under of 44.
It's one of my locks of the week.
Pittsburgh has played terrible over the last couple weeks. Give up back-to-back games, 41 points. And today, TJ Watt tested negative for COVID. Tomorrow he's got to face another negative just so we can get into the game on Sunday. That's going to be a big factor. No, it's going to be a big factor. If they get him back on defense, that's going to help a lot. But what can you say? The defense has struggled.
Pittsburgh Steelers have given up 590 rushing yards in the last 3 games. And they face the Ravens this week.
Yeah. And the Ravens have struggled to run the football, though.
Yeah, that's great. But,
That's
they
my
still
only
got
worry.
Lamar.
I know, and Lamar struggled to run the football.
Yeah, but, that's
And he's
Lamar
throwing
Jackson.
interceptions. This is my thing. It's a divisional game. I think it's going to be close. I don't love taking the Steelers because they just played so poorly. But they are at home. They play better at home, typically. And the Baltimore Ravens on offense have really just looked like they've struggled down the stretch. I know Lamar was sick. He missed a week of football because he was sick. And then first game back, a little rusty. But I just don't know if I love... I mean, if the Pittsburgh Steelers get up in this game and Baltimore comes back and wins, I still think Pittsburgh could cover the 4.5 with a field goal. So I'm going to roll with Pittsburgh Steelers with the plus 4.5.
I don't know what we talking about here. You talk about all rivalries, right? Baltimore-Pittsburgh is the rivalry in football.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can, count any team out. I'm going to take Baltimore to win this game. I do have it as a lock, 4.5, even if you tease that for Baltimore. But, I'm rolling with the Ravens.
Okay.
I mean, you look at, the comparisons. What I'm saying? Najee could do whatever he want to do, but how you going to stop Lamar? They ain't been able to stop nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to take the Ravens.
Okay. I just like the plus 4.5 because I think it could be a field goal game either way. So now we look at another divisional matchup. San Francisco 49ers on the road against Seattle Seahawks. Some people saying a trap game. San Francisco's playing well. They're favored -3.5. Over under 45.5. Seattle typically beats the 49ers all the time.
Wilson 14-2 versus San Francisco 49ers.
But the Russell Wilson has, as of late, has not been cooking at all. He's been laying eggs, that's for sure.
Microwaving at most.
I'm telling you, some TV dinners. That's what's for dinner. Yeah. So I don't love the matchup here. There's no way I can pick Seattle to win this game because San Francisco's playing so well.
Me neither.
I get it. Deebo Samuel is out of this game, and that hurts. But Deebo hasn't been really effective in the passing over the last couple weeks. He's really been using them out of the backfield. He's averaged like 10 yards per carry. Elijah Mitchell's been running the ball effective. So, yes, I'm not saying they're going to miss Deebo Samuel, not miss him. But this could be a big George Kittle game. Who's going to defend him? Brandon Ayuk's been coming on and playing very well over the last few weeks. I just don't see how Seattle's defense can stop anybody at this moment, much less the San Francisco 49ers, who can run the ball very effective. And the Seattle Seahawks, that offense just looks terrible. They can't run the football. They can't work any play action. Yes, get the ball to DK Metcalf. That's what you probably should do, get it to your playmakers, but they haven't been doing that. So I just don't. Every time I pick the Seattle Seahawks, especially the last couple weeks where I'm like, they got to win. They got to win. They got to win. Guess what? They keep losing. So I'm going to roll with the Niners and keep Seattle on the losing streak.
Niners fans, you know how I've been beating you up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue to right now. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the Seattle Seahawks can't run the ball. Yes, Russell Wilson has mallet finger. But he's also 14-2 against the San Francisco 49ers or Santa Clara 49ers, whichever one you want to pick. I'm going to take the coaches here. Shanahan or Pete Carroll. I think the Seahawks find a way to win this game, and it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be under the number. Period. I think it's going to be a dogfight, and I'm taking Seattle to win money line.
Okay. So we're split on that one. We got a couple games left, Sunday night and Monday night. We got the Denver Broncos on the road against Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City -9.5. 47.5 over under. And I'm going to keep it simple. I like Denver. I would buy a point for 10.5. And the reason is Kansas City hasn't been able to really blow any teams out that well.
And
I know the defense has picked it up, but
and it would be that simple if they wasn't covering spreads like, you know what I'm saying, like how they've been in the last year.
yeah, of course.
You were rock Kansas City, but now you got Denver.
Here's the deal. This is the problem with Denver. They have the worst quarterback in the division. We talked about this earlier. Of all the quarterbacks in the division, they have the worst one. They have plenty of playmakers on the outside. They got a good running game. Melvin Gordon's very effective. Javonte Williams looks like a beast. We know this. Noah Fant's a good tight end.
We'll see what he can do.
Their defense is young. They make some plays at times. They do give up some plays at times too. I think that's where they lack a little bit of, collective play. But Patrick Surtain looks great. Outstanding. And I think they're going to be able to limit Tyreek Hill a little bit, albeit Tyreek Hill has played very well over the last couple weeks. They've been utilizing him greatly on the underneath, just getting the first downs and really keeping the chains moving. That's what they need to do. Because honestly, they've been trying to strive on these big plays and the flashy plays that you're not going to win football games with. You got to be able to move the chains on a consistent basis. Give your defense time to be set. You see what Chris Jones is doing over the last couple weeks and what the Chiefs have been able to do. They've been able to move the ball consistently, at least hang in the game with the time of possession, keep it somewhat even. And that way it gives your defense ability to make plays, and they've been playing very good over the last few weeks. But Denver's defense played very well. This is a divisional game. Denver coming off a big win. And I like the 10.5. I would buy a point to 10.5 because I just don't think the Chiefs blow them out here. Could the Chiefs beat them by 2 scores? Yes. But I like the 10.5 because I think Denver's going to hang in.
The Chiefs could beat them by 4 scores. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, who knows? I got the Chiefs to win, and, I'm staying away from this game, betting completely. Javonte Williams, you're looking at Melvin Gordon beating out this week, so we get to see what he do in a full workload. Tim Patrick has always been good with the targets that he catches. We'll see what Cortland Sutton could bring to the table. These guys, but Teddy Bridgewater is banged up. Now, what concerns me is like if Bridgewater is that banged up and they bring Locke in like second half, all bets is off.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? This could be a complete shootout.
Yes.
So, not saying that Locke is a better quarterback, but he ain't scared to throw it down the field like Jameis ain't scared to throw it down the field.
It's true.
Or old Jameis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway.
To his players or the other team's players.
Pre-LASIK Jameis.
Hey, you just throw it up, somebody will catch it, right?
Yeah, for real. You know what I mean? So, we'll see what that is. But, like I said, you know what I'm saying? I think it's a safer bet to buy this down if you want to buy it or tease it down. I'm going to rock with Kansas City.
Okay. Yeah, 7-point teaser gets you 2.5.
Yeah.
So that's a
field goal.
Yeah, that's a good bet for Kansas City, to be honest. But I'm going to roll with Denver. I think they keep it close in this one. Potentially pull it out.
Yeah.
The Chiefs coming out of a bye. I know Andy Reid's very good out of the bye, typically. But we've seen on this season especially, great teams come out of byes and lay eggs. You know what I mean? So I'm going to take Denver here.
I was worried about Arizona.
Yeah. So, yeah, that game too. I took Chicago. So we got the New England Patriots on the road against Buffalo Bills. Buffalo at home, minus 2.5. 43 over under. And I'll tell you what, I think Buffalo just needs this game more. I really think.
Well, they do because they're not number one in the division.
They're 1 game back. They haven't played the Patriots yet. So they got 2 games against Patriots. They do need this game. Patriots are 1 game ahead, but they haven't had their bye yet. So if they win this game, that'll put them at the top of the spot. Buffalo, yes, has struggled in spots. And New England's defense played very well on the season. New England's young. They beat up a lot of bad teams, especially over the last month and a half. They beat a couple good teams mixed in there, but they beat some bad teams too. And Buffalo, man, they just tend to show up in games like this, especially in prime time. We've seen it against Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen it just on Thursday night against.
Are you saying the Patriots are good as the Kansas City Chiefs?
The Patriots are 8-4 for a reason. The defense is good, and Mac Jones doesn't turn the ball over. They don't make mistakes on offense. They know how to run the football. They do everything. This is my thing with the Patriots. They do everything very good. They don't do anything great.
They're like the Spurs of the NBA.
That's a great analogy.
Very fucking fundamental.
Yes,
and they're gonna get it done.
That's exactly it. So
I'm gonna get it done.
I'm gonna take Buffalo at the minus 2.5. I just think Buffalo's gonna come out and put it on them quick, and then New England's gonna try and have to fight back. And I just don't know if Mac Jones can do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Mac Jones could do it too, but I'm sure that Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris aren't afraid to run this rock against Buffalo. Outside of last week, Buffalo just been porous giving up against the running back position. So,
against elite running backs.
I just know, like, Bill Belichick, right? You know what I'm saying? Given last time we seen this game, Stephon Diggs had 3 touchdowns against the Patriots. maybe he can take somebody away from this game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take Josh Allen away from this game. I really like to lean Buffalo. But as hot as New England is, I think I just got to ride with that in a snow game, potentially cold weather game. They both cold weather teams, though. You know what I mean? But I just like how physical at this point New England is. You know what I'm saying? In a slow game, I think New England can get it done. That's why the spread is so low. Nobody's injured in this game, to my knowledge. You know what I mean? So
Buffalo did lose Tre'Davious White on the outside, which hurts that secondary, but I still think their secondary is elite.
I mean, how many touchdowns do the wide receivers have for New England?
Like I know.
1, 2?
No, they got a decent amount, especially Kendrick Bourne's been playing well, but Buffalo Bills giving up only 3 touchdowns, I want to say, on the season to wide receivers. So I got to take Buffalo here, and I know it's a pick 'em. A lot of people got New England in the upset.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em. I don't really know. I'm staying away from this game betting. Another one that I'm staying away from. But just for contrast, I'm gonna take New England.
Okay, so you got New England, and I'm on Buffalo.
And we go to the best bets. What you got, B-Scott?
So my only best bet, I got one, and for me, it's my favorite teaser of the week. It's got to be the Vikings. If you're teasing the 7 points, Vikings, that'll drop it to a half point. Philly dropped to half point playing the Jets. Vikings playing the Lions, and then the Rams. I like the 7 to get it to 6.5, and I believe in the 13.5, but just a little bit safer bet there. Get your +7 if you want to throw one more game in there. If you're going to do a 4-team teaser here, probably something like Tampa Bay I could see, or like you mentioned with the Kansas City Chiefs, you drop it to 2.5, and you got them by a field goal.
Yeah,
that's another one.
I mean, so I got 5 on the day. Of course, for me, these are going to be 7-point teasers. The NFL has been so volatile. Like, I'm not ever going to tell you to pick a money line where you got to lay 5-1. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm going to take Arizona. You tease that down to 7, you get a half a point. Indianapolis, -3. Baltimore, +3.5. That means they don't lose by 3.5. Denver and Kansas City, under 56.5. Minnesota, over 39.5.
Okay.
And that is my best bets of the week.
Okay. So that's it. That's our matchup video, our best bets heading into week number 13. So if you have any comments or anything, drop in the comment section. We'll be glad to give you our opinions. And while you're there, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell for all your information, fantasy related, NFL related, and we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season. So, yeah,
we got that playoff push coming next week. You'll see me more than Saturday. We got a lot of shit coming, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. Lock and loaded. First we're downs, you already know what it is. B. Scott, G-O-D, we out.